Still on fossil fuels, I noticed that Adam Bandt, the Greens leader, has said that he will seek an amendment in the government's budget in October to make sure they don't spend a penny on coal and gas. It's the demonisation of both those power sources that get us into the situation we're in Queensland this afternoon.
It's absolutely crazy. And this is just what we all feared going into the election, that the Greens, or, if we had a minority government, thankfully we don't. Unfortunately, not a coalition government, but it is a majority government. So I implore the Labor Party and the Labor government to stand firm on their commitment. They finally came to the party just before the election on the Kurri gas power plant. What Adam Bandt also fails to acknowledge is these subsidies, they're not just going to gas and coal companies. A lot of these supposed subsidies, when you read the report they're all pointing to from the Australia Institute, some of these subsidies are for infrastructure like the Hunter Rail Connection project, which is not a gas or a coal subsidy. It's a subsidy to help move our commodities around. So, and if you want to get simplistic, Adam Bandt, if you want to talk subsidies and be as simple as that, well, let's cut all power subsidies. So we don't subsidise renewables, we don't subsidise coal, we don't subsidise gas.
Yes, let's remove the $7 billion we've been throwing at renewables every single year and then see whether he wants to play favourites. I want to ask you about your nuclear push. You and David Littleproud want the government to view nuclear. Now, we've heard from Jim Chalmers and Chris Bowen about, this is way too expensive. Just clarify this for us. They are referring to big, gigantic nuclear reactors, the ones that operate now expensively in Europe. You are referring to small modular reactors that you can fit on the back of a truck, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I mean, this is where we need to have the conversation. All we're saying is we need to have a conversation. We've got to stop this sort of 1970s, 1980s view of nuclear. Nuclear technology has come a long way in the last 3 decades, and there are new technologies, small modular power plants that might be fit for purpose for Australia. We will never know if we can't have the conversation, if we can't do the investigations, and if we can't do the business cases. We're not talking about a massive, expensive Chernobyl that'll take 30 to 40 years to build.
No.
We are talking about, let's look at the new technology, because this is how we can, have a true low emissions future with a reliable base load power source.
I just think that because of Anthony Albanese's background with protesting no nukes, he wore those T-shirts when he was in university, they just know that they won't get anything associated with nuclear through that cabinet, and they don't want to argue about it.
We need to have a bigger conversation about nuclear too. At the moment, Australia's got only one source of nuclear medicine at Lucas Heights in Sydney. And, we've got to ask, is that enough as well? If we can open the door to have a conversation about nuclear power, we can talk about nuclear medicine, we can talk about all sorts of other nuclear technologies that at the moment Australia is just too scared to even discuss.
Yeah, good to have you on the program, Perrin Davey. All the very best.
Thank you very much, Chris.